In this video, I'll give you a rundown of the Celebrity Cruises retreat experience, let you know whether I think it's worth the added cost, and also give you a piece of advice that you don't want to miss. I'm Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guy. I publish cruise-related videos weekly, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. If you haven't already watched my Celebrity Eclipse Retreat vlog series, you can click the card above or the link in the description below. But for today's video, let's talk about what it's like to cruise in the retreat. Celebrity Cruises has been on a recent push to move itself more upmarket, and now they describe themselves as a relaxed luxury resort at sea. With a fleet of 15 ships, Celebrity is no boutique cruise line, and in fact with their most recent fleet additions, they have some of the most modern and technologically advanced ships afloat. I sailed on Celebrity Eclipse. She's one of 5 previous generation Solstice class ships and was launched in 2010. She comes in at around 122,000 gross tons, which means she's not quite big and not quite small, she's definitely mid-size. Despite her age, I thought her public spaces were in great condition. I definitely didn't notice anything that looked like it required urgent attention. Celebrity currently has 2 distinct onboard experiences, and that comes down to the ship that you book. It can really make a difference to the retreat experience that you end up having. The most modern and up-to-date onboard experience can be found on any of the line's Edge class ships, as well as its older ships where they've been revolutionized. At the moment, that's limited to Millennium, Summit, Equinox, and Silhouette. Before you reserve a cruise in Celebrity's retreat, it's important to know which experience you're booking. You could very well expect to be in the lap of modern luxury and instead be in something that's a little dated and a little technologically lagging. Eclipse was actually scheduled to undergo her revolution before I boarded, but thanks to the pandemic, the fleet-wide upgrade program was delayed. Now, I knew exactly what I was signing up for, so I wasn't surprised to find that Eclipse was mostly in her original state. That meant furnishings in our Royal Suite were somewhat scuffed and showing signs of wear and tear. Some of the ceiling lights would come on and off of their own accord, and the televisions in particular were of another era entirely. Having said that though, the room itself was very clean, generally in fantastic condition, and I definitely couldn't argue with the amount of space on offer, nor the balcony hot tub. On all of Celebrity's ships, the retreat experience begins with the Sky Suite. It's a fantastic entry-level option for those wanting to experience the additional luxuries of the retreat and extra in-room space. On Eclipse, the next rung up the ladder is known as the Celebrity Suite. More spacious than a Sky Suite, the room offers a separate bedroom and living space, but with the same overall onboard inclusions and amenities. Those inclusions are based around the 4 pillars of a premium drinks package, premium Wi-Fi, included tips, and an onboard credit. All retreat guests have the assistance of a butler, plus access to Michael's Club, which is essentially a concierge lounge with an open bar, plus a light breakfast, afternoon tea, and a cocktail hour offered daily. There's also access to the restaurant called Luminae, plus priority boarding, disembarkation, and tendering, and you'll also get priority seating in the theatre on evening chic nights. Though there are additional suite types on the newest ships, onboard Eclipse the retreat accommodations top out with the Royal and Penthouse suites. These 2 rooms are known as top-tier suites and come with additional benefits over and above their Sky and Celebrity Suite counterparts. Apart from being the largest suites on board, guests staying within these rooms receive unlimited specialty dining served in the suite if preferred, complimentary laundry services, 2 complimentary bottles of premium spirits, complimentary restocking of the minibar, plus reserved seating in specialty restaurants. There are other unwritten perks, but the gist of it is that you should expect to be treated like royalty on board. Eclipse's next renovation is scheduled for April 2025, where it's expected she will receive the revolutionized features of her updated sisters. For the moment though, retreat guests on Eclipse miss out on the new retreat sun deck and the retreat lounge. The exclusive sun deck area will likely take over the Solstice deck, located forward on deck 16. With hot tubs, shaded lounging areas, and attentive service, the retreat sun deck promises to offer an extra layer of luxury when it is eventually installed onto the line's older ships. For the time being though, its absence is a point against the unrevolutionized ships. One of the most notable perks of the retreat is Luminae. This exclusive restaurant promises elevated food and service without the need to make reservations. The restaurant is open for breakfast and dinner daily, as well as lunch on sea days and turnaround days. Luminae is not an equal proposition on every celebrity ship though, and one of the complaints that I've read most from loyalists and avid long-time celebrity cruisers is that on the newest Edge class ships, Luminae lacks that distinct intimacy and exclusivity that you get on the older ships. If you look at the number of suites on board the newest of celebrity ships, you'll see why. On board Eclipse, there are 66 suites. 44 of those are Sky Suites. On the Celebrity Edge, that number balloons to 176, with 146 of those being Sky Suites. The substantial increase in premium room types on the newer, larger ships has, according to loyalists, detracted from some of the onboard ambience that Luminae provides on the line's older vessels. I've not sailed on the Edge class yet, so I can't comment from personal experience, except to say that I really did enjoy the intimate setting of Luminae on board Eclipse. The restaurant quickly became my favorite retreat perk, and it really was a cornerstone of the entire experience. While the food was definitely well presented, some dishes were admittedly better than others. Mostly though, I fell in love with the ease of dining in Luminae. Cruising on a self-declared luxury line really should be about ease, and not having to worry about breakfast, lunch or dinner reservations definitely added to that feeling. Our only job was to arrive during the restaurant's open hours, and we were always seated immediately, and that did feel like luxury. As I mentioned earlier, one of the perks of the Royal and Penthouse suites is that you also receive unlimited specialty dining. The reality of that was pretty enjoyable. We got to experience Murano, Le Petit Chef, Sushi on 5, Tuscan Grill, and the Gelateria without having to pay anything extra. Celebrity promises exceptional service for all of its guests, but those staying within the retreat definitely receive an extra layer of attention, and that comes via your retreat hosts and butler. But actually, the experience begins before you even step foot on board. About 1 month before our cruise date, I received an email from one of Celebrity's shoreside concierges. Her role was, according to her email, to make our celebrity experience as carefree as possible by arranging things for us ahead of time. One of those was making reservations at the specialty dining venues on board, as well as getting our preferences for our complimentary in-room minibar and premium spirits. We were also provided with drinks lists and copies of the restaurant menus to help us plan. Our requests were all handled prior to our embarkation, and it was an additional touch point that added to the overall experience. On board, we directed all of our inquiries to our retreat hosts or our butler. We didn't have to go to the guest services desk at all. We really didn't have much to ask for, but with the help of our butler, we were able to arrange a last-minute specialty dining reservation. The most notable example being near the end of the cruise, when it seemed like everyone wanted to go to Murano. And despite it being technically sold out, we managed to secure a table after calling our butler that same afternoon. In addition, I complained to our retreat hosts about the internet. Despite it being pretty much awful everywhere, in the room it was basically unusable. After mentioning it to the host, she organized for it to be investigated, and that same afternoon a brand new wireless router was installed in the suite, which will at least benefit the next people and definitely improve the experience that I had. I definitely appreciated the attention to detail and the speed with which requests were handled. Our cruise went from 6 South Pacific ports to 4, and in line with booking terms and conditions, there was no compensation provided. I note this because both P&O and Carnival have had to recently alter their cruise itineraries, and where they have done that, they have provided affected guests with a $50 onboard credit, and though not obligated to, I know that that gesture was definitely appreciated by those passengers. Pre-cruise emails were a mess, especially in light of the port changes. I kept receiving emails encouraging me to take advantage of cruise planner sales and pre-purchase shore excursions, except I couldn't do that. I could see that they were listed, I could see the dates and the prices, but there was no way to book them in. The newly installed Starlink internet was awful. With access to the premium streaming tier included in our fare, I expected it to be much better than it was. The morning that we arrived in Noumea, I noticed there was no internet at all. We got off the ship quite early for our shore tour, and by the time we got back around midday, the internet was still out. There was no pre-warning and there were no announcements about that until later in the afternoon, when I suppose they must have responded to multiple complaints about the outage. The concept of value is definitely a subjective one, but I really did appreciate the long list of inclusions. Taking into account that we did have an onboard credit, we barely spent anything extra on this cruise. For us, it really was an all-inclusive experience, and that did make a difference. Though it's not always the case, when you factor in the cost of additional extras like drinks packages, specialty dining, and internet, and add those to the cost of a standard room, you can in some cases start edging towards the cost of a suite. So it is worth checking before you book your next cruise. Having said that, there's no doubt that prices are increasing though, because I recently compared a 10-night cruise to the same part of the world on admittedly the newer Celebrity Edge, and in the same room type that we just sailed in, the cost has more than doubled. And at those rates, I don't think I can justify the expense. Much like beauty though, value is in the eye of the beholder, so your mileage might vary. Luxury is in many ways defined by ease and comfort, and I think that's what stood out most about our cruise. It was easy, and apart from my strange interaction in Luminae, there were really no other issues to report. If you're seeking a cruise experience that's a step above, then definitely consider the retreat, but make sure that you're aware which retreat experience you'll be getting for your money. Overall, I had an incredible time on Celebrity Eclipse and have no issues in wholeheartedly recommending both the ship and the retreat experience. The cruise now ranks as one of my top cruises, possibly second to my voyage on Azamara Journey back in 2018. Well, that's it for this cruise review and the entire Eclipse vlog series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if you are looking to book a cruise, you can head to my website, thecruiseandtravelguy.com.au, and make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date, and give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.